Weirdest intro to a movie I have ever seen. Hello once again, watchers of good movies. My name is Nick Pell and this is once again coming from my apartment. Now today we are going to be talking about the film Nocturnal Animals. This is a film which I have been very interested to see for quite some time. It stars Jake Gyllenhaal and Amy Adams in the two lead roles of this film, and I've just been so curious to see what this film ultimately ends up being, and I've seen it now, so let's talk about it. Now what makes this film interesting is that it tells three different stories over the course of the film. We have one which focuses on Amy Adams 20 years after her divorce of Jake Gyllenhaal's character, and we see where she is in her life. She's pretty much unhappy. She doesn't really trust her new husband. She isn't sleeping all that well. And one day she ends up with this manuscript of the story which her ex-husband has written called Nocturnal Animals. And so just one night she decides to read into it, and that's where our second story takes place. And this one focuses on Jake Gyllenhaal's character, which is written about in his book, but he plays that character. And it's one of the darkest, most tragic stories that I have ever seen play out in a movie, to my knowledge. A large majority of the first hour of this film and the second hour is devoted to this story. It takes pretty much 80% of the film to tell this story, and that's the main focus of the film itself. And the first hour is just so dark, so brutal, and it's basically your worst nightmare that you could think of if you're driving alone on a highway at night at like 2 in the morning. Oh my god, it was so tension filled, it was so gripping, and it just had me captivated and uneasy in just the first 20 minutes of the film, and just had me hooked from there until the end credits. More during the second half of the film, it does decide to sprinkle in like the beginnings and origins and eventual downfall of Amy Adams and Jake Gyllenhaal's relationship as they kind of fall in love, and then just seeing kind of how they ended up divorced and how she ended up meeting her second husband as a result of that. And so that kind of adds some context to the film, but again, the main focus is the story which is being told. And also within the story which Jake Gyllenhaal is playing in, we have Michael Shannon as a sheriff who's trying to help him solve this case which involves his family. And then we also have Aaron Taylor Johnson. Who would have thought that this guy would go from being this to this? It just is incredible how far he has come as an actor in this film, and he steals this movie. I'm not kidding you. He is up against Amy Adams and Jake Gyllenhaal. Jake Gyllenhaal, who has recently had a major comeback and resurgence. He steals all of his scenes easily. He is the most surprising actor in this film, and he is somebody who I am very excited to see do more work like this in the future, because he is phenomenal in this movie. He deserves an Oscar in my opinion. And then all these stories, as you could probably suspect, flow into the ending scene to this film, and that's where I feel like I might have been missing something, and I think it deserves a second viewing, which I might do, I don't know yet. So the scenes from the book and the scenes from the flashbacks, they seem to inform upon the present day, and I think that they're supposed to reflect that to some degree, and I have kind of a general idea in my mind of what it's supposed to ultimately mean with the last scene, but I don't know for sure, and it's kind of annoying me, and it makes me want to go and watch this film again. It makes me want to discuss it with people, and it's just that interesting of a film, and it's not one which holds your hand and just kind of walks you along like, okay, so this means this and this means this and this means this. It doesn't do that, and part of that pisses me off, but I respect it highly for doing that, because it just doesn't hold the audience's hand and treats them like smart people who are supposed to figure it out for themselves and interpret it how they will. And I really appreciate that about this movie. My only issue is just one small thing in this film. At one point in the film there is a jump scare, which, this being a drama, I was not expecting at all, so it took me completely off guard and just startled me. I jumped at the jump scare because I was not expecting it, because it's not a horror movie. So that was one thing which kind of bugged me, because again, I think I need to rewatch it to see what exactly the jump scare was, because I was so startled by it I wasn't able to actually take in what the person who saw the scene was seeing. Guys, Nocturnal Animals is easily one of the best films of the year. I am not saying that lightly at all. I have basically my top 10 list formed already, and just assuming that other films in December don't make it on there, I think there are two which have potential, but this one I think is maybe going to make it on there. I want to watch this again. in theaters before it leaves, so I can see if it holds up for one, and also if I get a lot more out of it in a second viewing, if I pick up on a lot more things. And I'm just very curious to see what this film does upon a second viewing. But guys, the performances in this film are fantastic. Aaron Taylor Johnson just delivers a phenomenal performance. Amy Adams, Jake Gyllenhaal, Michael Shannon, they all deliver as well as you would expect them to. The film is edited and the camera shots just work phenomenally well as it flashes back and forth between Jake Gyllenhaal and Amy Adams, because you know their connection, and so seeing them reflected in certain scenes just works incredibly well, and it's another reason why I want to go back and watch it a second time. And yeah, this thing is fantastic. I highly recommend you checking this thing out if you have the opportunity. If it is in a theater near you, I think it is still expanding, so check it out in the next couple weeks if you can. But guys, those are my thoughts on Nocturnal Animals. Let me know yours in the comments down below. Did you like it as much as I did? Did you hate it more than I did? Let me know. Like, favorite, comment, and subscribe once again if you so choose. I appreciate it immensely. And as always, my people, my name is Nick Pell, and once again, keep on watching.